with that odd kid. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back once again to Vicious Rants, and of course I'm your host, your YouTube messiah, and often imitated, never duplicated superstar, Tim Vicious, and we are going to be going over Raw this week. It was in Oklahoma City, the home for my executive producer, Mr. Oliver Ben. Make sure y'all check him out. Also, make sure you remember, check out his music. He does provide it for this show, you know. Now, as far as what the show goes, it could have been better. And, well, let's face facts. Let's call a duck and a spade a spade. Vince, we all know what would have made this show better. You have enough time when you do it, and when you have Raw in Pittsburgh, to have freaking Wiz Khalifa of all people out there and perform. In which case, again, for the entire state of Pennsylvania, I apologize for that. But you're in Oklahoma City and you don't decide once, not once, to give me a call, send me a text message or anything to say, well, Tim, I want to take you up on that offer and have that Oliver Ben go and perform on my show. But no, you choose not to. Shame on you, Vince. For shame. You know better. But digress. On with the program itself. It started out in a very unique way. Hasn't started out like this in a very long time. Just straight out, boom. Right after the opening intro for saying the WWE logo, it cues to Ambrose walking down the ramp. And then it shows everyone else in Money in the Bank just sitting there on a ladder, you know? And then you got Jericho with his legs crossed, hands on his lap like this, like, Jericho freaking sold it for that segment right then and there more than anything, because of the fact of he just sat so gracefully on the ladder while everyone else is just on there perched like they're ready to strike. And Jericho's just like, like he's sitting there for a Sunday brunch like, yes, well, I do think I should diversify my portfolio. Yeah, just the fucking way he did that was hilarious. I don't know. Wasn't trying to be funny for that part, but it was, and everyone was all on point talking about on how they're going to win, and then Jericho again hitting it home with saying on how he created it and he won it, and then Sami Zayn saying, whoa, you won it? Which one did you win? The first one? The first one. The sixth one? Sixth one? Where was the sixth one? And then Jericho, Apple? Wait, I'm sorry, did you say Apple? Appleton? Look, it doesn't matter, you stupid idiot! And then we got the stupid idiot chants, and, you know, you can tell it's obvious now that everyone is accepted and is okay with Jericho being such a good heel that he's going to wind up eventually getting turned back to a face. Either that, or they're going to wind up having him go up against heels that are even bigger bigger heels, so to say. You know, but anyways, well, everyone was on a ladder, so obviously we all know what would happen eventually. Everyone started brawling and going at it, and then it ended with Cesaro standing tall in the ring, looking like he was going to climb up and do the whole proverbial grab the briefcase thing, and then, of all people, freaking Teddy Long comes out, players, holla, 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 you know, and then he comes out campaigning on how he should run SmackDown Live, you know, and, well, I'm okay with Teddy Long running it, especially seeing as on how, you know, and Josh, I know you, not as a knock against you, so don't take it that way, but ran it a lot better than when you had that punk-ass bitch, Nick Meltzer McGee, whispering in your ear, trying to tell you on how to run shit. And if that little punk-ass bitch, Nick McGee, ever winds up coming across my path, you better believe he still got that ass whooping coming and gonna get that death match. Digressing back to the matter at hand, though. Teddy Long comes out, campaigns on how he should be. And if he was the general manager right now, he'd make a no disqualification, fatal 4-way, all a kind of match with them all. Holla, holla, holla. And then out comes Stephanie McMahon, who, I swear, the getup that she had on tonight had definitely sold the fact that her daughter's friends have to definitely come over just for MILF and cookies. Let that joke sink in for a minute now. Yeah. Not gonna lie. I definitely would if I was a kid and I was a friend of their kids. Moving forward though. Steph comes out, talks down to Teddy like you would expect, and then goes and makes a match, goes and starts booking matches for the night, Ambrose and Owens, Zayn and Del Rio, and then of course by order of elimination that would be Cesaro versus Jericho. And that match happens now, and then she goes and has them play Teddy Long's song, and then she does the dance out, which case I could watch that all day. It's almost like staring at Lana. Now, on to the matter at hand with Cesaro versus Jericho. This had a nice feel to it, but it felt a little confused as far as what, you're going to put these two? I mean, I know these two can work good, obviously, They've done shows overseas together a bunch. And Jericho is one of those kind of guys that if you can't have a good match with him, you need to hang your boots up. But it felt a little weird, But I don't know. It just may have come off that way to me personally. Just have that weird feel to it. But that aside, it was a pretty good match. It was a pretty good matchup, That and frickin' Jericho, beautiful counter right into Cesaro's swing. Just as Cesaro hoists him up and he starts to move, Jericho moved his body in, grabbed his leg, and actually pulled Cesaro down to counter it for a roll up. But it was good. It was something different. And again, that's the one thing I always push for if you're gonna do the shows. Have your standard set list of moves that you're going to do, obviously. But, don't be afraid to throw in something different every now and again, just something to make the people say, whoa, I would have never expected to see him pull off that kind of a move, But, anyways, the match wound up coming to an end. Cesaro, he wound up doing the Cesaro swing. I think he got like 30 or 40 rotations in beforehand, and then wound up hitting the sharpshooter. And yes, the sharpshooter on Jericho, and then Jericho tapped. In which case, the way he did it, it's on how I always emphasize you should do a submission tap out. Don't the second it lock in, tap out the second it's locked in. No. What you should do, hold out for a minute to make it look like, okay, I can take it. No, I can't, the pain's too much. No, I give now. Like that. That's the kind that should be done. A next matchup, we got Rusev versus Oklahoma's own Jack Swagger, in which case, again, Vince, you're willing to put Jack Swagger on, who's an Oklahoma boy, but you're not willing to go and put my executive producer on, who is an OKC boy. Is this because I drew a giant cock in your office or something? Because, I swear, I really thought that you liked roosters. Nothing personal, man. You said you enjoy a good rib, Anyways, Titus O'Neil was on commentary. The way he wasn't doing his normal heavy sarcastic self with it. The way he was carrying himself with it, it was a little different. It was more of a serious tone, but it was a good kind of serious tone, Because the way he was doing it, he was talking about on how he wants to get his hands on Rusev and the title because he feels he is championship material. Reason on why he hasn't gone to him yet up until now is because he's been mostly in the tag division, and now he wants a shot at him. He says he feels he is a good champion for all the work he does in the ring and outside of the ring. And thank you, God Almighty, he said that, because I've been preaching that since freaking day one on this guy. You know, this guy has got everything it takes to be a world champion. You know, he's got the look, he's got the build. For the love of God, he could sell a steak to a vegan with his mic skills. You know? Let us not forget Rufus Pancake Patterson. You know? The man can work. You know? It's just, honestly, that guy, the guy really is, has got all the tools and the traits to be a main eventer in my book. No doubt. Him and Big E, definitely. Two very underutilized guys who I hope within the next 2 or 3 years get a main event push. You know? That aside, I'm getting off track. Got to get the ADD under control here, kids. Sorry about that. Believe it or not, it's not the producer's fault. It's mine this time. But, anyways, it was pretty much a mediocre kind of match. You know, it was like what you've seen before with Rusev and Swagger. I mean, it was good seeing the way Swagger was working. I mean, the way Swagger was working, he was hitting hard, and you know, it was worth seeing him. You know, it was like, wow, they're letting him actually do good. You know, instead of just going out there, doing a couple spots and then, you know, getting his ass kicked. No, he actually looked like he was actually doing half decent, which I actually was all for. You know, but you know, it's the end on how the end came. You know, Swagger wound up getting Rusev out, and then Swagger, he just kind of fell down, got outside the ring. They're both on opposite ends of the ring. They both stare each other down, and they both run around to the side of the ring and hit each other full force, just bam! It's like seeing two freaking bulls collide, and like they just dropped to the ground like, ugh. And both stagger to get up. The ref's doing the count. Ref's up to like 7 or 8, and then Rusev throws Swagger onto Titus O'Neil and then climbs back in the ring to get the win via the count out, you know. So, but after that, you know, Titus gets in there, starts working him, and then Swagger works him also, in which case, perfectly acceptable to see two baby faces, you know, that, you know, don't normally work together at that particular moment when the opportunity presents itself to go and take out the heel. Perfectly fine, you know. Now, next matchup, it was the VaudeVillians versus Enzo and Cass, and I really don't need to say nothing about Enzo and Cass with their mic work, because those guys always on fire, you know, no doubt, just, and they hit it home, talking about on how they're going to be the next tag champs, on how they're going to wind up, you know, going through the VaudeVillians, and Enzo talking about that shot that he took from them a month ago. And now, as far as what the match goes, it was fast action for the time that the match took place, but it was thrown out because Aiden English wound up throwing Enzo out of the ring, much like on how it was at Payback. You know, and then Cass just looked, and he just looked like he went into like a freaking Glenn Rage from Walking Dead, just went into Cash Rage and just started mauling all over Aiden English, and then the ref called for the bell, and then that was it. And then next thing you know, Cass just wound up hitting him with a big slam, and then they just stood, and Enzo crawled back in like, holy fuck. Cass, you did this? Fuck. He just had that kind of look on his face. Now, next matchup, it was Sami Zayn versus Alberto Del Rio. Now, this one I did have high anticipation for because, you know, Sami Zayn, everyone knows on how good of a high flyer he is. Del Rio, everyone knows what good lucha libre kind of background he has. So, on paper, this would be an interesting matchup. Yeah, and it had a nice feel to it for the match, you know. It's just, this had a very nice feel to it. Not as much high-flying and aerial as I would have expected, you know, given Zayn, but, you know, that kind of played well in that sense because you could have it say Del Rio wound up grounding Zayn for that part, in that sense, you know, but still, just felt a little off on that part, you know. The match wound up coming to an end when Del Rio had Zayn up in the Tree of Woe, climbed up to the top, and then boom, did that foot stomp on him. And then got the 1, 2, 3. So, next matchup we had it. Well, actually, before we get into that, should bring up, there was one. That's right, just one woman segment during all of Raw. And honest to God, it was Paige trying to go and say she didn't mean, she would like to apologize for, you know, hurting anyone's feelings for what she said about her dad, you know, but she was just calling it like she sees it kind of crap. And then out comes Natty and Becky Lynch trying to go and tell Dana Brooke who's with her. And before I get into that part, just, dude, no lie, you look back and you look at that segment, the way Charlotte and Dana came out, no lie, they look like that freaking lesbian couple everyone always goes and ogles at when they see them in the store, like, ah, damn, who's the bitch and who's the butch? You know? But, yeah. But yeah, and then they had, but then Natty and Becky, they were going and trying to convince her that, you know, that Charlotte's just going to burn her in the end, they should leave. And then Dana, of all things, just makes this face that freaking sells that whole segment. That makes that kind of a face. So yeah. And then they wound up beating the crap out of them, and then Becky and Charlotte wound up getting the crap. And yeah, just ugh. Honestly, I kind of spaced out after Dana made that dumbfounded look. But next matchup, it was Dean Ambrose versus Kevin Owens. And this was very physical right from the very start of the match. You know, and this picked up right where the other two guys left off. And I'm not going to lie, folks, if Kevin Owens does nothing in his WWE career except have matches with Dean Ambrose, Sami Zayn, and Cesaro, I am perfectly fine with that, you know, because of the fact of just the freaking chemistry these guys have. It's just, wow, you know, but it was good, and probably one of the best, probably a really cool part right in the middle of the match, Owens yanks the headset off of Byron, you know, you see that, Byron? You know what I'm going to do to him? It's going to be the same thing I do to you. And what the hell? And then Ambrose gets a running start off the table and wham, takes him down. And this was pretty good. It was good between them both. Like I said, I could watch these two guys, you know, for the rest of, you know, if Owens does nothing more with his WWE career except feud with Ambrose, Zayn, and Cesaro, I'm good with that, you know. These guys work good, you know. But match wound up coming to an end. Owens went to go throw Ambrose up against the ropes for the pop-up powerbomb. Ambrose caught the ropes, and then Owens went to go for a swing at the for a clothesline. Owens ducked it, got him, hooked him up, wham, hit him with the dirty deeds, got the 1, 2, 3. So he won that. After that, he went out into the ring. He went out of the ring, grabbed a ladder, climbed up, went to go grab it, and then Owens knocked him down. And then Owens just looked, "That's mine," and then left. So, personally, what I'm predicting is going to happen, I think Ambrose is going to win the Money in the Bank. One, just to appease the Smarky McSmarkertons that keep on saying that, oh, he needs to. Yes, we all know he needs to, but dude, don't just give him a win for the sake of giving him a win. He needs the win if he's going to get a story. And 2, this is where the part on the story comes in. I think at SummerSlam they're going to wind up booking Lesnar, or not Lesnar, they're going to book, sorry, I was thinking about the UFC 200 fight that Lesnar got announced for. What I'm thinking they're going to do at SummerSlam, Reigns, Rollins, Ambrose, triple threat. Because I'm pretty sure that was what was going to be for this past Mania, but since it couldn't because Seth was out with a bad knee, I think they're going to do that at SummerSlam, which is the second highest grossing pay-per-view of the year. Makes sense. Now with that said though, next matchup now. Tyler Breeze versus R-Truth. If you could even really call this a match, I mean, they got a couple shots in on each other, and then next thing you know, Goldust and Fandango wound up going at it outside of the ring, and then they wound up crawling inside, and then they started going at, and then the ref called for the bell. Which then leads to the final match. Oh, actually, there was a bit of an aftermath on that part. I'm sorry, folks. What it was, after that, Teddy Long came out to go and try and make it into a tag team match. Players, holla, 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 holla. No, no, nothing, no. So, no tag match made. So, anyway, security escorted Teddy out, and Steph wound up getting into Teddy's face saying he's not going to get to be general manager, she's going to run things. Kind of figured that was going to be on how it was going to go. Steph ran SmackDown before, then why not have her run it again? That's the mindset. But, next matchup, it is main event time. It is Styles, Anderson, and Gallows, the Club versus New Day. And New Day was right on fire right from the start, because when they came down, they talked about on how you guys are in a club. Well, you don't look like any kind of particular club. Well, definitely not the Just for Men club, because 2 of you are bald, and leave the bald jokes alone. Us baldies got to stick together, you know. And then they said they're in an exclusive club themselves, the WWE Tag Champs, and it got announced earlier in the show at the pay-per-view Money in the Bank, there's going to be a fatal 4-way. It is going to be Enzo and Cass, VaudeVillians, Anderson and Gallows, and New Day for the tag titles. Money on that one is going to be Anderson and Gallows or New Day walk out. Nothing against VaudeVillians or Enzo and Cass. It's just they're still new to the roster, so they need to earn some. They need to get some more TV time before they give the strap to them, in my opinion. But back to the matter at hand with this match. They were New Day on fire right off bat, just going at it like they thought war was declared. Going at them. And that freaking Woods was on fire like mad, Did a freaking over-the-top senton on the Gallows, went in, started going at it with Styles, knocked him down, and then got on the apron. Looked like he was getting ready to go and do an Acai moonsault when Anderson got up there, boom, hit him with a boot, and then Styles picked him up, and then prepped him, and then bam, hit him with a Styles Clash right on the mat. So they took Woods out of the match. So it was Big E and Kofi versus them 3. And, so when you got a 3-on-2 handicap match, it's a lot different than having a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1 handicap. You got, well, not so much different. It's more so the same concept. But point that I'm getting at is when you do a handicap match, unless you want to make the team who has the favored odds look like idiots, then by all means let them lose. But with this, when you do this, you get to have a little more leeway and a little more play because, you're able to have the other person do a tag, so to say. But either way, this was pretty good on the mat. This is a fairly even match, and it was all good. I dug the hell out of it, But Club wound up getting the win. Styles, he hit the phenomenal forearm on I believe it was Kofi. Sorry, brain's a little scrambled at the moment. No AC here at the Vicious Studios, and it is about roughly 90-something degrees in here. So I'm working through the sweat and the heat for all y'all beautifully crazy bastards. But yeah, they got the win, and then they proceeded to go and do a stomp on them, you know, and then out comes Cena to go and help save them, even up the odds. And then New Day and Cena wind up all clearing out the ring and get them out. So that is it for this week's show, folks. So, like on normal, do not forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back, watch some of the other episodes when you can, you know? Always appreciate that. Also, leave any interesting and creative complaints, concerns, comments, grunts, groans, whatever you want, right on down below. Always open to criticism, good, bad, or indifferent. And do not forget to follow me on Twitter at TimVicious, my backup account Tim_Vicious, and I am on that Facebook gimmick Tim Ash. Also, look for these cool ass cats right here on Twitter. Vicky Earls, I am Danny Sunday, Axel Mulligan, Sunday Segway, Simply Sabrina, WWE Grandpa, Aaron_Deborah, my executive producer who I mentioned earlier, Oliver Ben. Make sure y'all check out his music on iTunes, Spotify, Xbox Gold, and such. Details on that are in the description box, as well as my client, Bronx Bitch Forever. And folks, like I always tell y'all, you love me great, you hate me. Fuck you.